Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Because now I know when something happens in our lives that is unexpected, you have to go into it in order to ever have any hope of coming through it. So when you go, guess what? When you come out the other side, you grow.
Brought out more in me than I thought that I didn't even know that I had.
That has given all of us a great hope for what we can do with our own messages, our abilities to deliver, but most importantly, to deliver it in an authentic and very, very intriguing way.
Have you ever been in something or felt something where the only way you felt you could deal with it was to leave, get away? I thought that was the meaning of control. It took me 4.5 years to stop looking around the room of my life, of my journey, of my purpose, digging in cushions for a remote that never existed. Looking, re-looking, going back and upgrading, bringing in and pulling out things that do not serve you must go. Those things out in this world that are designed to bring us down, to keep us down, put their foot on our neck and whisper to us that we're never good enough, they don't whisper. They yell at us from all directions, top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner, 365 days. When somebody asks you about yourself, don't you dare whisper. When they ask you to raise your hand, don't you dare half raise it. When they ask you something good about you, you scream it with all you have. Come on now, get up, get up. Tell me who you are. Show me who you are. Greatest truth of all, that not everyone has to remain lost.
so. Honey, it's way past time. How explicit do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Hey! I said, hey, wake up. Ain't no sleeping in here. Not today. Not any day. Not Monday through Friday. Not at Bathrobe Moments. We are here to wake up, stay up, pour into each other. When we come together, two or more, you know what it does. You know what it does. It enacts one of the greatest promises that this universe, the God, the spirit, source, whatever you ascribe to, has available to us. That one that guarantees us that when two or more of us comes together with that mindset, you know, that heart set, that spirit of easing suffering in the world, right? You know what happens. Spiritual magic comes out the other end. And that's what's going to happen. There's the bell of purpose. Not a gimmick, not a show prop. I didn't slip and fall on it just now. I hit it on purpose. I rang it on purpose. Why? Because it is a reminder that the truth, just like that bell, has a ring to it. And I don't want you to miss any while you're up in here today, okay? So when you hear that, tune in. Lean in and take some of this purposeful goodness with you. Can I get an amen? I know. Oh, look, I'll start it off. I ain't scared. There it is. Yes, amen, amen. It means we're in agreement. Good morning, all you beautiful people. I see you. Welcome to today's installment, Friday edition of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren. And yeah, real quick, I want to get this party started. I loved what we're going to talk about today. Let me see. I want to show you. I have one announcement. It is the 17th day of November, and November is National Adoption Month. And as most of you know, if not, I'll tell you now. Yes, I am an adoptee, and I am encouraging all of you to, it doesn't have to be you, but maybe you know a child that is looking for a forever home, or maybe you have enough room in your heart and in your home to take a kid right now. Currently in the United States alone, over 400,000 young people, kids 18 and under, languishing in the state. I call it the underground roulette wheel of foster care. And so we want to help change the needle for that. So listen, here is where you can get more information regarding how you might be able to help a child, or just to support along the way. So adoptuskids.org. Know them well. They're great people. Reach out, won't you please? National Adoption Month. Okay, so today, we're going to play the game. I got a book bundle, gift card, whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but within reason. Joel, I think it's THIESSEN. I always say it wrong. THIESSEN? Sounds like a medicine. Ooh, I can't wait to get my prescription refilled. What is it? THIESSEN? What's it for? My gout? So anyway, JD, he's known in the entertainment world. He's an actor. There's a lot of things. So I know it's Joel. I'm guessing D is for, David or Douglas is what I'm guessing. So those are my two guesses. I cheated by taking two. You drop your guesses for what D stands for in the comments. Whoever's right, I got something for you at the end of the show. Okay. So let me tell. I have so much stuff pulled up. I got some surprises today that this guest, Joel, does not even know, but I'm gonna get him in here. I just, when I went all over the place looking, because he does so many things. He's a co-creator of a company called Legacy Innovative LLC, and he's an actor. He's done door-to-door sales. He is walking within his faith. I want to talk about that. That's an important part. And a lot of us had started in what is known as organized religion and moved more over the years into spiritualism for whatever reason. Some of us ran out the church doors screaming and hollering, right? Lord, let me get away from them. But it was a starting point for all of us to get to something, to believe on a daily, on a consistent basis that there is something greater than ourselves and that we cannot do this alone. Can I get an amen? Okay, so we're going to talk about that. And he's never been here before, so he's a first timer. So now's the time. Roll out the virtual red carpet, put some hearts on the screen. It's our way of standing to our feet as we welcome today's guest, Joel THIESSEN. Here he comes.
Hey,
how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm sorry. I'm so used to being the first one talking and welcoming people in. So,
because you have your own podcast, right?
I do. Yes, we do.
Oh,
Not me and Janine and I. What we do is every Friday at about 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, we jump on and just talk about what we've learned in business because we're still learning, trying to figure this out. Yeah, it is.
Oh, we'll have to tell people where they can find that later today, this morning. So first of all, let's just start with this. Where are you in the world right now?
I am currently in Blackwood, New Jersey.
Did you say Blackwood, New Jersey?
Yes.
Do you know Rita Henderson?
I do not.
Over on Elm Street. I'm kidding.
I do not.
I've never even heard.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. One time I made up a name in a street and the woman actually knew somebody. It's just, how do you know?
Name,
right. So
on that name and on that street?
Yes. Yeah. I know. I was like, so New Jersey, but you were born and raised in Canada.
Absolutely.
Oh, Canada. So do you consider yourself Canadian?
Oh, absolutely. I do. Yeah.
A?
Well, I don't say A as much as most people would think I do. I can, put it periodically through the podcast if it makes you feel better. A?
Because that's from a different area in the country, further up, right?
Yeah, it was further east. That's where you would normally get towards Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, that kind of area there. And they all talk more of like they have heavy accents.
Yes.
Whereas I don't.
Yes, they do.
But you'll find that A is generally more around that area.
Yeah, I wasn't up with people when I was a youngster, 18, and that was part of our tour. And Nova Scotia. Yeah. I think that was there. Yeah. And culture shock. I had never been anywhere yet, but I loved Canada. I spoke in Canada a couple years ago in Toronto. Beautiful. I was there the weekend that weed became legal. And they opened up the shops right before my eyes. And all of a sudden, 1 minute it was like a normal street. The next, I went in one store. It was normal. I came out. It was like a pot den. People were on the streets. We can smoke, right? They were like, want some? It was like a holiday. I am not kidding. I was like, okay. So anyway, let me ask you something. We're going to get started. I like to dip out, Joel, and let you have the floor for about a minute and just kind of give a living testimony of who you are, a little of your origin story, what brings you here today, and what are you doing on a daily basis that you feel allows you to ease some form of suffering in this world. All you take it away. I'll be back in about 60 seconds.
Fantastic. So I grew up in church. So I grew up in a very word of faith movement where we would pray for people, see people healed, all sorts of stuff like that. And when I was about 23, so I was in Saskatchewan for about 23 till I was about 23, I moved. I felt like God told me to go to Vancouver and study acting. So I did that. And I did that. I was there for about 5 years before I felt like God told me to go to Toronto. And I did that for about 3 years until COVID hit. But I was doing door-to-door sales with Sick Kids Children's Hospital in Toronto, and then COVID hit. No one seems to like plague. No one seems to like door-to-door people when there's a plague coming around. So I had to quickly adjust. And so I ended up working at a homeless shelter. And I ended up working at a homeless shelter, and I kind of went from there. That was about 2 years ago now.
I was just laughing because I can imagine during COVID, if anybody, I don't care, it could have been my own mother, knocked on my door during, God rest her soul, during COVID, and I would have got down on the floor and crawled away like it was the Jehovah's Witnesses or something at the door. So you know how they feel now when people get away from here.
It's like, I had one of my friends decide to get married in the middle of COVID and in Toronto, and the amount of of people being like, "Ooh, like how dare you decide to get married?" There was 10 of us in the wedding.
Who does that? And did
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
who
have to
does
wear
that?
masks and everything?
Yeah, we had part of the groomsmen was we all had the same mask, the same black mask, so that we were all kind of in the
Like
same.
Men in Black, but
Yeah,
without glasses and masks instead.
and we didn't look near as good as Will Smith does.
What did the bride have to wear? Did she have a mask underneath her veil?
She had a white mask on, I believe, for when. So we were all socially distanced in the room. So it was like, but the bride and the groom, when they were together, they didn't have the mask on. So, but yeah,
That was the one thing I did not cover during COVID. I did a couple 90-minute television specials, one with kids,
yeah,
19 kids from around the country, how it was affecting them. And then I did one with like nurses, funeral home directors to get all those weird stories.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they couldn't have flowers there were 2 funerals. People drove through and looked in the window and bye, auntie. Wasn't that the crazy
That's
thing?
so bad.
Were you scared? Tell the truth. Okay, you're a man of faith.
Yeah,
And what denomination, Joel?
I'm non-denominational. I've never been in it. Like in Canada, there was a denomination called Canadian Fellowship of Churches and Ministers, which we were a part of, but like it was a denomination, which I never really figured that one out.
Non-denomination. Okay. Oof. Because I was raised before I went into foster care. My original family was Seventh-day Adventist. And so, they put us in there with Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons. We're like one of those cray-cray religions, so people think.
Yeah.
And there are certain elements, even though I'm not active in the church, haven't been for many decades, but I still carry a lot of the doctrine with me.
Mhm.
Certain things that if it resonated and rang true, the truth will set you free, and I
Well,
kept it.
the truth resonates with you. It doesn't matter what state of life you are. When the truth speaks, even if you don't believe the truth, it will resonate with you. That's just
Yeah,
the way. That's the way God works.
yeah. So let me ask you something. As an actor, and we're gonna take a look at your demo reel. I have it pulled up. I found it. I was all over the place, and I wanted to ask you though, what was the biggest challenge as a kid of faith moving into this world of acting? Everyone knows, debauchery, drugs, rock and roll, illicit sex parties, all kinds of stuff. Now, what was it like? How were you accepted or not? And did you keep your faith, kind of hide it under a bushel? No, I'm going to let it shine. How did you handle that? And how did people accept you?
So there was two very different aspects to this, because the first one is I was an actor in the film industry in a church, and the church didn't quite like that because of all the debauchery and all that stuff. And then I was a church person in the film industry, and the film industry didn't like it very much.
Because
So
sometimes you might have to cuss
yeah,
and all kind of stuff.
I had to say words that I wouldn't say in normal life, and I had to be able to work that out with God, to sit there and go, okay, God, these are the standards that you've placed in me. How can I do my job and still hold to the standards that you have? And that was a big thing. I fought with that for a couple of years at the beginning, um,
Hmm.
because it was like, because I had to walk a different line than the rest of the people in my church. I had to, and just like that, I had to walk a very different line than the people in the film and entertainment industry. And so I had to be very careful that I wasn't withdrawing and secluding myself. And there were times I did, because of just all of the attacks that would come on from every side. But it was a real point where it was like I refused to hide what I believe. And there were times where I turned down, like when I moved to Toronto, there was this movie that they were making, and I got the lead role in it, and it was the only lead role that I was so excited for it. So excited that I actually forgot that I didn't read the script. They were like, "Do you want to take it?" And I'm like, "I'll take it," instead of saying I should read the script first before I take it. And there were three really, how do I say this? I want to be honoring.
Nasty.
Nasty
there was
scenes.
3 really nasty scenes. I wanted to be really
I knew
honoring
it.
to the team because I love the team was fantastic. The director was great. The producer I might have issues with, but there was 3 really nasty scenes, and I had to sit there and go, okay, I really want to do this movie, but if these scenes don't have to be in this movie for it to make sense. And so I had a
Oh boy.
conversation with the director and the producer, who was also the lead actress, and I was like, okay, so these scenes here, I can't do these the way they're written, and I'm happy to work with you to figure out a way to make to have all the storylines hit, but
Uh-huh.
not do it this way. And I ended up losing the part because of it.
I was gonna say, excuse me, can you go over there and shut that door? And then you go shut it. No, when you're on the other side.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
exactly. Exactly. But there's a point where it's like my standards, like the person I am cannot be violated by the part that I'm playing.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
For people who may be young people who may be considering and they have a faith, they
Mhm.
have faith, they're walking, but they want to be an how does that's a tough one.
Mhm.
That's a tough one. But people do it. Look at Kirk Cameron.
Yeah.
When he left television, he went and he did all the Left Behind things and things.
Yeah.
And now we have Angel, they do all the great faith-based
Yeah.
movies and
Those are
documentaries and shows.
I'm really impressed with those people, actually. Like,
Yep.
I have been really impressed with the way they're telling their stories.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that I have not seen, do you know the Irwin brothers? When I say that, do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
It's the people who did Woodlawn, I Still Believe, I Can Only Imagine.
Okay.
I think the Jesus Revolution was the newest one that they did.
Okay.
But I actually had the opportunity to study the script of Woodlawn, which was their first feature
Mm-hmm.
before it was out. So I've been since about 2000 and I want to say 2016, maybe 2017. I've been actually watching these brothers, and they are the best Christian directors I have seen yet. In my personal opinion, watching their moving, watching the way they choose to tell their
Mm-hmm.
stories. But it's like you have these people, like when we started, we had like Courageous and Fireproof, which were great for what they are at the beginning. Though
Yeah.
now the Christian entertainment industry has grown,
It has.
and we're starting to get these absolutely amazing stories being told, and I love it.
Let me ask you something. You you're so much about you. There's so much to you. I'm gonna my ADHD is just gonna throw me all over the place this morning, y'all. So bear with me,
Yeah.
because I'm just gonna pop them out as they come through. So let me ask you this, because I want to know. So you're a Christian.
Yep.
Now a lot of people are spiritualists today.
Yeah.
Woo woo, and I mean I am.
Yeah.
Because I just it works better for me. It allows me to do what I need to do to quench the thirst that my soul came to this earth to quench, and to leave some lasting change, ease some suffering consistently, and hopefully leave something that people can learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. And so I want to ask you about one thing about organized religion, because in my biological family, where I met them when I was 32, and I have a brother in there that's Jehovah's Witness. Some of them are Baptists, some of them are bedside Baptists. They just watch it on TV. But the thing is, I noticed, like, is it still the way it used to be? Or what's your experience as far as when, as a Christian, you meet someone who says, I am a believer, but I'm spiritual. So I believe in, they say universe.
Yeah.
And when you hear somebody go, oh, the universe, source, spirit, do you like, oh, do you turn? I mean, how do you feel about it? You personally, do you try to convert them? Are you okay that you, at least you're believing in something and you're trying to do something great in this world? How do you approach it?
So personally, me, what I do is, first, my job is to love. So I want to be Jesus on this earth. And if you look at how Jesus operated, he operated out of love first. And actually, if you look at the Bible, It was the religious people who hated Jesus. It wasn't
True.
the prostitutes. It wasn't the
They
even
loved
pot.
him.
They loved him because what he did is he
I know they're
didn't.
like, "Hi, Jay." That was his nickname on the streets.
Yeah,
Jay.
his street nickname probably, but it's like you look at all of the people. It was the people that the religious people had thrown away and cast aside.
Exactly.
Those were the people that Jesus reached out to. And in his words, he didn't want to go. People don't call a doctor if they're not sick. So he wanted to go out and help the prostitutes, the tax collectors, who were technically just thieves. If you actually read the Bible,
Yes.
they were just legal thieves.
They still are.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Did you know that you pay 35? No, we're not gonna go into taxes. Sorry, I'm not gonna dip into that.
I know. I was about to vomit in my mouth, but I won't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into that. That's something that I have very strong opinions about.
Me
However,
too.
we're gonna keep that one. I'm still trying to get the government to allow me to stay here forever. So let's not criticize.
I
them.
know. That's right. And I'm not trying to go to debtor's prison. So
Yeah, exactly.
let's just leave that one alone. So
Yeah, but going back to the original question, it's if I want to be Jesus. Jesus was love, but he also spoke the truth. And so I will happily speak the truth. I'm not gonna force you to believe it, but I will happily speak the truth. And we're having a conversation, and you're walking towards a cliff because you have say you're walking in bitterness, and you've got so much bitterness. I'm gonna just be like, look, Lauren, what I'm hearing you say is bitterness, and if you want to actually be healthy, you need to forgive that. And it's like, because if I let you walk in your bitterness, I'm actually dooming you to a worse life then it will just keep dragging you down and down and down and down. And so just being with me, I want to sit there and go, Lauren, and I'm not saying you're better. I'm just using you as an example here, but I'm like, Lauren, I can see that you haven't released forgiveness towards your birth mother or whatever. And it's like, okay, I see that you haven't released this, but if you don't forgive this, it's not hurting her. It's actually hurting you.
Right.
And you're actually it's harming who you are to the point where you can't move forward anymore, because all of the people that are coming into your life that are wanting to give you opportunities are actually be turning down because of the bitterness of your soul. And so for me, it is my job to speak truth. It is your job to believe it if you want.
So when you left Canada, because you met your wife, your now wife, and she's from Jersey, and that's why you're now in New Jersey, and you're in the church that you belong to right now, right? You're in their studio. So when you were in Canada, did you two meet at church?
We didn't actually meet in Canada. It's funny.
Oh.
So, okay, this is okay. I'm gonna have to do this kind of slow because this is a big. Okay, so I'm Canadian. I was born in Canada. She was born in Germany. Okay.
Yeah.
We met in California, and then when we got married, we're living in New Jersey. So
okay, so she never lived in Canada.
She's never lived in Canada. I think she's been to Canada once.
Okay.
No,
so
she's been to Canada 3 times.
You're coming to Jersey.
Yeah. So we were like, she was like, okay, if this is God, because really at the core of everything I am is I want to seek God and see, okay, where is God in all of this? We were like, okay, God, what are you doing? And where do you want me to be? And we just felt like God had led us to be in New Jersey for the season.
Where did you meet her? Like on the street, at a church social? Where? I mean, did you know you were both people of faith when you laid eyes on each other originally?
We knew that we were both Christians. So I'd heard a whole lot about this church in California. And I was like, okay, it's really hard to look online and judge whether they're actually good people or not.
Don't tell me you met on Christian Mingle.
We did not.
Okay.
We did not. So there was a church called Bethel Church in California, and you either love them or you hate them. There's no one who's on the middle ground. And so I wanted to know firsthand who they were. So I went to California. And the way I like to judge a movement is by judging the people who are diehards, not the leaders. Because if you judge the leaders, they're probably pretty good actors. I don't want anything to do with that.
And you would know.
Yeah. And I generally, being in church for 23 years, you can generally tell an actor when you see one. And I'm
And
not
there's a
saying they were,
bunch of them. I hate to say it, but it's
yeah,
true.
absolutely. There is. But so what I did is I booked a few of my friends. We decided to go down and check out Bethel. But my thing is, I want to know where the diehards are. So I showed up at the conference 3 hours early every day to sit there and see who were the people at the front of the line.
So were
Three
you
that are
there to like expose? I
no,
mean, were you like an undercover, we're going in?
no. I just wanted to know the truth, and I wanted to hear. I wanted to see what God was doing there, and so I went in to just kind of take a look.
So were
No,
you
no
open?
motive,
Were you skeptical?
no motive,
Did
no
you want
agenda.
to find something wrong? Tell the truth.
There's a part of me that was looking. But it's like, but I want to feel Holy Spirit, because if you know what Holy Spirit is doing,
Yeah.
you will recognize a counterfeit. If you know Holy Spirit personally, you'll just see the counterfeit. You won't even think twice about it. You'll just walk away and be like, okay, that's a counterfeit, and you'll walk away and go from there, live your life.
And what happened when you were there?
So when I was there, I showed up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the doors opened at 9.
Oh,
Because that's how you judge. If you want to judge a movement, judge the diehards. Don't judge the leaders. Don't judge the people who
there
are
were
half in,
actually
half out.
people there that early?
There was about 40 or 50 people. I was near the front of the line. I was like 6th or 7th in line. And her brother, my wife's brother, was right behind me.
But you didn't know him.
I didn't know him at all. I didn't know who
Oh.
he was. But I wanted to kind of see who all the people were around me. So I started talking to everybody that was in my area, and her brother was one of them. And we just kind of clicked, became friends. And then the next day I did the exact same thing, 6 o'clock in the morning, and he was there again. So I kind of kept on talking to the people around me. And then the third day, he was there, but his sister showed up as well. And so we started talking, and it was October 5th, 2018 that we met. And we kind of talked to each other, and then we felt the Spirit of God drop. And so we actually prophesied over each other for 2.5 hours. And that's how my wife and I met.
Tell people what that means.
Okay. So
when
what
you
it
say
is,
you prophesied over each other.
perfect. Okay. So what we do is we practice hearing God's voice, because we believe that if God is the God of the universe, he's speaking to us.
Now, clarify who's we?
Sorry. My wife and I, my group of friends, the people that are with me in chasing God. That's the people that I talk about when I say we in that.
So
Thank you for calling me out on that.
is that the non-denomination or you know what I'm saying? Is that the collective?
So at that time, we called ourselves Light and Film. There was about 8 of us, and we were just trying to hear God's voice. 8 of us from about 6 different churches. We were trying to hear God's voice and just act on it and see what happens. And it wasn't a denomination. It wasn't
You weren't a church. You were just a
we
group.
weren't a church.
A
We were just a
collective.
group of friends. Yeah, I guess a collective of friends. There was some actors in the group. There was a director in the group. There was a couple of writers in the group. And we just were all like, okay, if God is real, then he's talking to us. Because if God is real and the Bible is true, if that's the case, then he's a God of love.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to us, and we should be able to act on what he's saying. And if I can't do that, then what the Bible was saying was wrong.
Let's talk about the Bible for a second.
Sure.
Real
Shoot.
quick. Because you said if the Bible is true.
Yeah.
But the thing that gets me about the original,
Yeah.
well, not the original, the one that most of us were introduced to first, especially my age. There was no NIV or any of that. There's a million
King
different.
James.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different versions now. But when I came up, there was one, the
Mhm.
King James version. And
Yeah.
that I used to always ask, even as a little boy, why is it a version? Because isn't a version when it means that there's some things were left out and some things were added in? It's
Yeah.
this person's take
Yeah,
on the overall collective, whatever's in between these pages.
absolutely.
And so let me ask you, do you today in your walk toss certain things out that may be archaic, that don't apply? The law, that was the whole, the children of Israel, the Abraham, the whole. First of all, what version Bible do you have?
I switch between a bunch. I read NIV. I grew up on New King James Version. I have a Message NIV side by side. There's a version called the Passion Translation that I read and I look at.
Why are there so many versions?
Because we change language every 5 years. So if you look at how we talk, let's just look at 40 years ago, okay? 40 years ago, the term gay meant happy. Now the term gay has an entire different connotation.
True.
We look at 20 years ago in the 90s, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. 30 years ago in the 90s, you look at the word sick. Oh, that's so sick, man.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I'm throwing up everywhere.
Right.
It's so because our language changes and shifts so much. There will always be a new version coming out every 10 or 12
Well, who are
years.
the people though? What is it? They just like get together at Starbucks and say, let's rewrite the Bible today.
Well, I believe that that God will move on certain people, like Martin Luther when he created the version of the Bible, when he nailed the 95 Theses on the church door and started. I believe now I could be getting my church history mixed up just slightly, so you have to forgive me. If that's the case.
Not hard to do. I'm just saying.
And so, but I believe that God will inspire people to try and bring it in so that people can understand, because he wants a relationship with us. And if we can't understand what he has written, it's really hard to have a relationship with him.
Do you ever, in your conversations and round table talks with your friends and the people that you trust and bounce things off of, do you guys ever point to other religions and say that they've got it wrong? A lot of that's one of the things that a lot of people find unsavory about organized religion is that they point fingers at the other ones. Like, oh, not those, those Baptists, those Protestants, those Lutherans, those Catholics. But they all claim to serve the same deity.
Yeah. So what I'll say is that I believe that we need to major on the majors and minor on the minors. Okay.
Explain that.
So what I believe is I believe that Jesus is God, that he died on the cross for my sins, period. Mm-hmm. And if you believe that, then you're a brother. Whatever. That's what I believe. Uh-huh. Now, to sit there and go, oh, the Baptists are wrong, the Protestants are wrong, the Seventh-day Adventists are wrong. I will call someone a brother if they believe in Jesus. That's my stance. Now, no, I'm not going to force everyone to believe in Jesus. That's not the way I do things. But it's like even my group of friends, when we were calling ourselves Light and Film, there was 6 of us from 6 different churches represented. I think there was 8 to 10 of us that came and gone. It grew and it shrunk and it grew and it shrunk, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But what really united us was we wanted God. We wanted to know God, and we wanted to put to test what God had said. We wanted to say, okay, if this is God, then this should be true because this is what the Bible said. And so we would put to test, and we learned a lot. And we started seeing some crazy things happen, but we just wanted to sit there and go, if God, this is true, then we should be able to build our life upon what the Bible says. If it's not true, then none of it will work.
So is there any, you don't have to answer this.
I'm an open book. You can ask me whatever you want.
Okay. Do you personally, do you believe there's any sector or group of people or mindset that you look at and you go, oh, gonna burn in hell? They're gonna burn.
I don't look at someone and say you're gonna burn in hell. Now the Bible is clear about hell, yes, but I don't look at them. I look at them and say, okay, sorry, you wanted to clarify.
No, I was like, so you really believe?
I believe that there is a hell, yeah.
A place of burning and thrashing and
I do. Yeah.
Why? Let me just ask you though. Why would God do that to anyone?
Well, first, let's look at what hell would be, okay? If we want to talk about it theoretically, hell is any place God does not exist. So if someone says, I don't want God, God is not going to force them to be with him.
Right. But you'll pay.
No, there was no you'll pay in what he said. He
but
said
that's what hell means. The gnashing of teeth, eternal this and
what
I
I
can't wrap my mind around that. I cannot. When you say God, I'm just saying it. We're all adults here. But
Yeah.
when you say God is love,
Yeah.
I don't understand how, if I put myself in God's shoes, and I'm allowed to do that because I'm trying to be, there is God in me and I am in God. We are one. It is the oneness. I believe it. But
Yeah.
when I look at those kinds of things as a person,
Yeah.
and I say, okay, if that, look over there. Oh, I can look down and look at them just burning. Oh, ooh, let's smell that meat. Right. There's nothing about that feels okay to me.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that because I don't think that's the way it looks. I don't know the details. I can't talk about the afterlife because frankly, I'm more concerned about what I'm doing here than I am about the afterlife. I can tell you what I believe, but I can't, like, when I look at who God is,
Yeah.
okay, because God is love. And you sit there and you go, okay, now the world, if they want to go against God and they want to choose a path other than God, that's okay. They're welcome to.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, if God is love, he's not going to force you to be with him. However, you are also choosing a world without God. You are choosing a world without love. Does that make sense?
So, but it's almost, when you look at it that way, Joel, it's almost like my way or the highway. And I thought free will.
Yeah, we have a free will.
This, that, and the other. I just want to ask you something.
Go for it. Go for it.
So that I don't. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah,
It's a lot. It's a
Mhm.
lot. And because this is the thing, I'm gonna tell you. When I was a Seventh-day Adventist, half of my week was spent in fear of, am I going to burn in hell? Oh, I got to get forgiveness for this. Da 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 da. So it was half of the time it was fear of doing the wrong thing, and the rest of the time it was guilt because I wasn't doing enough of the right thing.
Yeah.
And it did not feel like a place I wanted to live within for 24 hours a day.
Absolutely.
It did not.
I completely agree with you on that.
It didn't.
Because, sorry,
go ahead.
Okay.
No,
so
go.
what I have found, because I've been to a few churches in my lifetime, there are a lot of churches who will throw guilt and shame at you in order to manipulate you. Okay, I'm just gonna be straight and honest with you. This is what I found. However, God's not like that. His people have been in the past, and they've represented him like that, and that is not okay. And that is worse, in my opinion, than a lot of the crap that's going on outside the church.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we were not meant to manipulate. And you'll never find me sitting here using fear to talk about Jesus, because that's not who God is. Fear and love don't coexist.
Yeah.
So if you've got people manipulating you and talking about and trying to use fear to get you to do, even if you're trying to do the right thing through fear, that's manipulation.
Yeah.
And that's not right. Period.
That's not.
Guilt, shame, fear, and the church has used that for far too long. And so we'll sit there and go, okay, you want to know, I will speak, like I said at the beginning, I'll speak the truth. It's up to you to believe it or not. I'm not going to manipulate you. I'm not going to guilt and shame you. I'm going to speak what I believe, what the Bible says is true, and that's what I'm going to do.
I always wonder, how we hear, there are countless stories of near-death experiences.
Yeah.
Okay. Where people talk about, yes, I felt this overwhelming sense of love and this light, and just, I did not even want to come back. It was so perfect.
Yeah.
But I have not, and I've watched a lot of those videos, listened to a lot of those stories, and I can't remember one time where someone said, oh, I had a near-death experience and I was hanging by my toenails over this pit of fire, and the sulfur was just too much, I have not heard one person with a near-death experience talk about that.
So
what do you say about that?
There was actually a documentary that just came out recently. I can't remember exactly what it was called because I didn't go see it myself. But there was a documentary called After Death, I think, just recently, like within the last month, because I know about it because there were people in my church that started talking about it. And it's very easy to, and what they do is they talk about those two. That's what they talk about. I'm not an expert on that. I've never really studied near-death experiences. I've never looked at it. So when I look at it, it's like, you know what? I don't feel qualified to even talk about that. So
You know,
I can't really speak on that subject. Sorry.
well, and here's the thing too. People always say there's two things you don't talk about with
Mhm.
other people, and that is
Religion and
politics.
politics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always found like, why would you not talk about religion
Mhm.
when it's based in love,
Yeah.
supposedly?
Yeah.
Why is it
Absolutely.
off limits? Why is it like, I mean, how are those two subjects so similar yet so different, except they're the two that everyone says you don't talk about? I want to ask you something. I'm going to pull
Sure.
up something here and you tell me. So, are you charismatic?
I guess you could put us in that. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay, here's why I'm asking, because here's your Facebook cover, and I'm just curious. I found it very intriguing.
Yeah.
Here's your Facebook cover, and this is the equivalent of laying hands
Yeah.
on someone. Tell us why. Look at your wife; she's so beautiful. You guys make a great couple.
Thank
Tell
you.
me why you put this there. There's no message, no typography. You leave people to their own interpretation of
Yeah.
what's going on here. Tell us about this moment and why was it so important to you that you made this photo your Facebook cover?
Mhm. So this photo was taken an hour before my wedding, and these are my groomsmen.
Ah,
One was missing because he couldn't get over the border because of COVID.
oh,
The one on the right is the one in the foreground, and the one on the right was part of my group that I was telling you about with from 6 different churches.
the lights or
The Light and
yeah,
Film
okay.
group. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the one in the back is my brother-in-law, and what they're doing
The
is
one that was in line with you,
yeah,
who
the
you
one
would
that I
not
met.
have your wife if it wasn't for him
That
being there?
if it wasn't for him being there, I would not know my wife. So
Okay.
these are the people that I wanted around me. And in this moment, I believe I want to make sure that God is honored in every moment of my life. And so when I was going up to our wedding, we had we had them praying over me because I wanted to just dedicate. And what we did is we prayed and prophesied over me, tried to hear
Okay.
God's voice and speak it out as a declaration for where my life will go in the future.
Mm,
And we wanted to honor God and give him first this moment of me being this last few moments of me being single. And we wanted to honor God in the whole ceremony of us getting married. And so it was an important moment to me where it was just us. It was a private moment that my wedding photographer actually got because we didn't tell him we were doing this.
right.
We because to me it's this was a private moment, and I loved the fact that he got a picture of it, but we weren't doing this for any camera or anything. And when I posted it, put it up on my Facebook, it's not a declaration of faith. It's a, hey, I want God to be a part of every moment of my life from beginning to end, from the smallest moment to the largest moments. And if you see that, it tells you everything that I want you to know about me right from the get-go.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I gathered from it. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to verify that because that's a bold move.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that gets people to think. And it's also very transparent
Yeah.
and vulnerable all at the same time. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. I want to ask you this,
Sure.
Joel. What about when you meet new people? What's it like? What's the pulse like?
What do you mean?
Are you there? Okay. If we
Sorry,
freeze, you keep going. So if you meet somebody, say you and your wife meet a couple,
Yeah.
and you're oh wow, I really like them, but then you go out to dinner or whatever, you have them over, and you find out we're atheists or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that a deal breaker?
No.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in organized religion will, nope. This, you know what I mean? It's us or them kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I just never understood that either. So what's that like for you when you guys meet people that may not be in the church or whatever. Is that off limits, or how do you
Nope.
deal with it?
Nope. So we're friends with people. Like we make it like we don't hide who we are. Okay. So right from the beginning, they know who we are. And if they're vulnerable, we'll know who they are. And then what happens is when people know us and know our hearts right away, they get to ask all the questions they want because we're open, we're vulnerable, and we just want to welcome them into our lives.
Ah,
And from there, if they want to talk about God, we are 100% to talk about God. And eventually the topic's going to come up anyways because it's just a big part of who I am. But we're going to be friends with them. We'll talk with them. If they need help, they know we're the ones that can help them. They'll give us a call. We'll go for coffee with them. It's not a deal breaker. It's just like any other friendship, except we try our best to be so open and vulnerable that they know they can ask any question at any time, and we'll give them a straight up answer.
what do you love most about your walk?
I love that I have the opportunity to spend time with Jesus and actually have a relationship with him. That is probably my favorite thing about my walk. I've been in the film industry. I've wavered in the film industry too. So it's not like I've been this solid map all the way through. I've made my mistakes, but one of the great things that I love is I get the opportunity just to forgive myself, to forgive others, no matter what they've done to me.
Yeah.
Like when we went into business, here's an example. When we went into business, my business partner and I, we were making about $150 a month profit at that point in time.
Speaking of,
And yeah, our legacy innovative. And we had a company steal about $1,000 from us.
oh,
Just outright stole it. We had contracts with them and they did not abide by the contracts and they did not return the money when stuff happened. And so it took me about 3 days, but part of the thing that I'm growing in is learning not to let bitterness affect me even from the get-go of it happening. And so what we did is we were like, no, we're going to forgive them. We're going to give it away as if it's a gift to them. We're not going to drag their name through the mud. No one's going to know who they are. No one's going to know what they did. We're just going to operate and we're going to forgive them. And that's how we're going to live. That's the choice that we made.
yeah.
And so when I say what am I happiest with about my life, is the fact that I've surrounded myself intimately with my wife, my father-in-law, my business partner, my friends that I've carried, and I've surrounded myself with people who, even if I let that bitterness sit, they would call it out and be like, Joel, that sounds like bitterness. That sounds like unforgiveness.
Yeah.
And I then at that point, I'm forced with the decision: do I forgive them or do I not? And at that point, and what I love is when you build those people around you, at that point, you get a decision of whether you want to choose the light or the dark right away. There is no waiting 6 months to let it fester and sit and spoil. It's like, no, we're going to get rid of it right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, man, this hour has flown by. I want to ask you
It
this.
really has.
Have you, because I had a download about you when I first started talking to you and we had that first time together. Have you ever considered moving into the genre of possibly becoming a youth pastor?
I've looked at it. I've thought about it.
I think you'd be great.
I was an online pastor in my home church in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. It's called Embassy Church. I was an online pastor there for 2 years. And my job was to do stuff like this. Actually, every Tuesday, we would have an open dialogue with the pastor based on what they had spoken on Sunday. And we would sit there and go, okay, let's ask questions. And we opened the questions up to the public where they could ask any question they wanted on social media, which is kind of a dangerous thing these days. But we did it. And we were like, we want people to ask those questions and we want to be able to be vulnerable and open with the answers. And so I've looked at it. And if God puts me in that position, I would happily take it. However, that's not where God is right now for me.
Right. Question. Last one, actually. And
Yeah.
I want you to leave everybody with this one. If someone is watching now or down the road, they catch the replay, and for whatever reason, because a lot of people are in this chair, they sit at the seat where they're angry at God. They've been mad at God for decades. I was one of those people for a long, long time, and it did not serve me. What would you say to anyone who feels like their relationship with what is greater, God, source, spirit, whatever it is for them, they're angry at it, they're mad at it, and that they feel they don't ever want to come back to that. What would you say to that person about that decision?
So this is going to be a little bit of a sideway, but I'm going to answer it. I promise. Okay.
Okay.
So when I'm talking to friends who are angry at other friends, I ask them first if they've talked to that person that they're angry with.
Mm,
Because if you've never talked to them and you've never brought it up, how can they actually speak into what actually happened? And so for me, I would say if you're angry with God or whatever you want to call it, if you're angry with God, go talk to him and hash it out with him.
right.
As straight, it's like what he wants is a relationship with you. He doesn't want to tell you, "Hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this." He
Yeah.
wants to sit there and tell you, "Hey, I love you and I
Yeah.
want to be with you." And
That's
so,
exactly what happened with me. And thank God for the codicil, come as you are.
yeah. Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
came and I was angry and I just let it out. And I literally heard, well, it's about time.
Yeah.
It's okay. I was waiting on you to just come and say how you felt. Now let's do something about it.
Yeah.
And it changed everything. It
Mhm.
changed everything. Um, it really, really did. I asked for unrefutable proof I want to know that you're real. Don't
Yeah.
come hovering over my bed like with Samuel. Samuel, I'll have a heart attack and die. But you're God. Figure it
Yeah.
out. I'm giving
Yeah.
you 1 year from today, or I'm out of here. That's what I said. And
And
in weeks,
mhm.
everything had changed in my life.
One of
Every
the
single thing.
one of the great things about that is you sit there and God knows you better than you know yourself. If you look in the and we were going to talk about acting too. We never even got there.
I know it.
But
We got to have you back.
but it's like if God is not scared of your emotions, he gave them to you. Okay? So it's like you sit there and go, "But I'm so angry. God, I don't want God to feel my anger." It's like, deal with it. He already knows how angry you are. So
True.
when you go to him and you talk to him, he knows how to talk to you. With me, he just confronts it right up front where it's like, "Oh, so you really think that way, huh?" And he'll just say stuff like that to me and I'll be like, "Well, no, I don't. This is just what I'm feeling in the moment." And he's like, "Okay, well, are you going to handle it? Are you going to deal with it or are you not?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, then I'm going to deal with it and I'm going to move forward."
That's
And
wonderful. That's
and
wonderful.
that's for me that's how God talks with me and walks with me. So,
I think it's beautiful. Joel, I just love that you're doing your thing and you are bold with it. I think we need more people to do this. From all wherever it is that you find your bread,
yeah.
where you find that peace that allows you to get up every day and invest in doing something that eases suffering in this world. I
Yeah.
believe that's what it's all about. It's not about what we call it, what name we slap on it, what
Yeah,
rules or doctrine.
absolutely.
I don't. That's all. Those are words and that's talking. But I believe it is the footprints that we leave. The walk that we have had. What will people say you did? That's what they will remember.
Mhm.
That's what they will remember. So I thank you. And you're welcome back anytime. And listen, you guys, on the screen, you'll see Joel's LinkedIn, and then scrolling underneath is the website. And if you'd like to check out the company, legacyinnovatives.com, there is that. We will take the liberty, for convenience purposes, of dropping all three of these links inside your comment section immediately at the close of the broadcast here in just a moment. So you'll have it for easy access. Joel, can you give us a Jerry Springer moment? What would you like people to remember about today as we get out of here?
Well, considering today we basically talked about faith,
Yeah.
go talk to God. Let's just let this hour have been a representation to you to go and talk to God and ask him to prove himself. He's not scared of that.
I know that's right.
And so if you take anything from this hour, go talk to God.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Listen, thank you so much, Joel. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I hope you'll come back whenever you choose. And where can people tune in to your podcast this afternoon or this
It'll
morning?
be on my LinkedIn. You look at my LinkedIn, also my YouTube channel, which is there. So you can go online and see it there.
Perfect. Perfect. We're out of time, unfortunately, but there will be more time tomorrow morning, not tomorrow morning, Monday morning, God willing. I'll meet you guys right over there on the front porch. So together we can have another illuminated conversation right here on Bathrobe Moments. I'm Dr. Lauren. Thank you. I love you. I tell you that every day. And here comes a cuss word for all you Christians. I love you, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. So take that with you. Be your best self. Find your best self, and then give everything you know to be true away. Take that with you and have a divine day. We'll see you soon. God bless you. Thank you, Joel. Great job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.